Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the singing siren herself, Sandy Reevy. Say hi. It is episode 273, October 16th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have Friday, October 20th, Mercury cazimi the Sun.
Superior cazimi.
And Mercury square Pluto.
Try to hear.
October 21st, Saturday, Sun square Pluto.
Are you still at it?
And Venus trine Jupiter retrograde.
Stay for the breakthrough.
Then winding up the week with the 22nd on Sunday, Mercury ingress Scorpio.
Make a promise.
And Mercury trine Saturn retrograde.
Take agreed plan.
Then in Talisman time, Sandy has finished up one special talisman. And on the horizon, we have a recap of our monthly forecast, as well as some options for you. And in our house, Sandy and I reflect on the Greece retreat, and we've brought back a very special item, Propolis, and we will tell you more about it. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river, wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of
Hello, singing siren.
Yeah, what is that about?
So you were telling me that you had a song to share with me. And I know that you weren't going to be singing it, but I'm sure you've been singing along to it.
I even got the words. It's 8 minutes long.
That is a long song.
It's a long song. Yeah, no, I'm totally into this new song, which I'm debating whether to bring it to one of the retreats for the title.
Ooh, exciting. Yeah. Exciting. Okay, well, it is episode 273, October 16th, and I want to go direct to all of you listeners. Thank you so much for your emails, your reviews, your messages. They all are our soul food. And if you haven't sent one in yet, think about it and do it. So this one is a 5-star going direct from an anonymous personal talisman individual who said, "Wow, the experience was amazing. While I'm still waiting for my bracelet, the stars are almost aligned. I am utterly astounded with the accuracy and detail, as well as the attention that is put into this session. We, aka this person and Sandy, worked out my intention and the affirmations along with it. And we have picked a time based on my chart for the best outcome. I will definitely follow up more once I receive the bracelet and how my intention plays out. Thank you so much."
I
Wonderful.
know who she is. And it was really wow. And she sent me several text messages even after that beautiful connection and saying like how calm she's been since we've had our call. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's always something that I say is just like, sometimes when we start freaking out, like we are off our path, we are not doing the right things or feeling the right feelings. And once we have that astrology reading, it is validating. And that is just some of that goodness that you can't recreate, just knowing that you're still on your path, you're still doing what you need to be doing. And maybe there's just a directional change that we could just pivot a little bit. So,
and sometimes it's just the knowledge that it's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, shall we start with in the transits? We have.
Well, we're going to see that, it's a very easy start of the week, right?
Right.
And then as we get through the week, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. There's a buildup here. So, and we have to remember where these eclipses are getting. We're in the middle of the eclipse season. So there's one particular day that's going to really, really aggravate or agitate the eclipse angle.
Right.
So.
And you and Susan just finished last week your webinar that is available and ready to watch on Patreon. Just head over to patreon.com/chattingwiththestars. Make sure to sign up for a 7-day free trial for the Big Dipper, and you're going to be able to watch that eclipse season expose that Sandy and Susan did. Okay, so let's start off with the first transit of the week, which isn't until October 20th, Friday, Mercury cazimi the sun.
This happens several times a year. This is when Mercury and the sun are meeting up together, and it's called the heart, the cazimi, the heart of the sun. Now, Mercury is not retrograde. That's why it's the superior cazimi. He's way out there, not close to the earth. He's on the other side of the sun. And so it's kind of like getting a stimulation from the stars, right? Those angels, those deities, the spirits, those cosmic energies that live up there far away. And it's a time where we can, they're available for prayer. So we can, say our prayers, make requests, and so I ask on this Friday, what are yours? What are some of your prayers and requests? Because this is the day that you should ask your angels. If you want to talk to somebody, on the other side, this would be a good day to do that.
Right. And the same day, we also have another transit, Mercury square Pluto.
So here's Mercury now is making that, comes away from the sun, and then boom, goes ahead and hits this Pluto in a square. Now, Pluto's stationing here to, he's been direct now. So try to hear, maybe you're more interested in your own voice, but, where you want to pay zero attention to other people's voices, but go ahead, ask the hard question. But, hey, it's Pluto. Be prepared to not only listen, but take the words, because they may sting. So put your stinger away so that you are not affecting or implying anything that is harsh or derogatory. Because things are, we say try to hear, but they're hard to hear. Right. And again, this is part of this exaggerating the eclipses.
Yep. And sometimes just listening and listening as an observer can also help, not trying to take things or let things stick to or dig too deep inside. Just being in that receptive space is helpful. So let's move on to the next day, which is October 21st, Saturday, Sun square Pluto.
Are you still at it? Right? Sun makes a square to Pluto twice a year, and it was 6 months ago. And here it is again. Pluto's, of course, direct. Pluto was direct last time. Every time we get a square to an outer planet, it's direct. Last night's discussion, right? If we were having this big Mercury square Pluto, and now today we're getting the Sun square Pluto, are you still at those conversations? Can you call them conversations? Can you call them discussions? Versus are these obsessive challenges? They're still bubbling. They're still bubbling up because of the square. Hopefully you got some sound sleep, something that has maybe calmed down, rectified itself. Some of those harsh accusations, maybe they've been slept off. But hey, stand your ground. This is the sun. This is your vitality. This is your personality, and stand your ground if you must. Because remember, they will too. So we have to see the differences. Remember that we're still between these eclipses. We have to understand the difference between what you want and what I want. And so that not both of us are squashed and squished out. I wonder, I'm wondering if there's some harsh communication going on in the world, maybe over in the Middle East, that something's going on between Friday the 20th and Saturday the 21st, because it's a square, and it's about, I'm important. No, you're important. It's an obsession possession kind of attitude. And, I'm just wondering if they stay in it, if they, the longer you can stay in a conversation, possibly somebody wears down, right? Versus getting
or
into
you find that common ground. That's usually the best when you're negotiating or debating.
Right. Versus not trying to hear, not slamming the door, hanging up, again, getting angry and demanding, making a call to admonish whoever you're up against. So if we can be in this conversation for a longer time, by the time we get to Saturday evening, we have the Venus making a trine to Jupiter. And this is about staying for the breakthrough. Right. So stay here. We know you're mad, right? We know that there might be some things that you don't want to hear, but stay for the breakthrough, because here Venus is in her fall. She's fallen down and can't get up. She's in Virgo, right? Virgo's the opposite Pisces, where she is in exaltation, where she is honored. So here she's in the enemy
territory.
Yeah. So she's needing some help. So she's calling out, and she can easily see her ally, Jupiter, because Jupiter's in a trine, and Jupiter's able to help, even though Jupiter's retrograde. Jupiter's in Taurus. So there's a reception here, right? Jupiter is in Venus's, what we could say, domicile or house. And so Venus is like, hey, turn down the gas. Hey, turn off the water. Hey, hey, give directions to my people at my house, right? There's a communication connection. There's a connection here. So, we may have a solution if we both agree to put the positive energy toward the problem. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only way. So I think because it's Pluto and it's power, we're seeing some incredible power forces going on in the world. The sun here is involved. The sun is the leaders of countries. And so Mercury's here. And because it's now, by the time we get to Saturday, the Mercury's in what's called combust, right? We get the clarity of Friday morning of that, oh my gosh, this is what we need to do. But by Saturday, we get he's now combust. He's now beyond the sun, and he's in that confusion again. And so there are some things I believe that may be going on behind the scenes on Friday night, Saturday. But I think that late Saturday, early Sunday can really show up that there's been a breakthrough. And whether that's in our government here, because there's some, conundrum going on there. There's nothing moving forward here. And then again, we've got combat going on in the Middle East. So yeah, it's a tough time. Right. Because we also had that Mars squaring Pluto a week before the eclipses, which I called popping off, right? So here, now we got Mercury going into the square. Now we got the sun going into the square, all with Pluto. Yeah. So this is not over, but hopefully things can come to a breakthrough and positive energy, because everybody's energy is high, different reasons. And so there's power force. Yeah.
And from a more, personal level, staying for the breakthrough is always recommended. It is the harder of the path. But if you think back in your life, when you have stayed and you have really worked at something that was a little bit uncomfortable, but you knew it was good for you, there is that breakthrough. It is on the other side.
Mhm.
So let's move on to the final day of the week, October 22nd, Sunday, Mercury ingress Scorpio.
Yeah, this is making a promise. So again, Mercury is leaving the peace sign of Libra and moving into Scorpio. So there's some really deep conversations going on that really, I hope that these are promises. Again, be the contract holder of your word, write it down, sign the contract, keep your word. Mercury doesn't have a lot of power in Scorpio, but your word has a will.
Right.
So I'm just curious again if there's some more secretive conversations going on, or backlash in the world. Again, one's mundane, astrology, about regarding the world, and then the other one's more personal, and we don't know it until I see a chart, somebody's chart.
Mm-hmm. And then there's one more transit on October 22nd, that's Sunday, Mercury trine Saturn retrograde.
Yeah, and this is, take on the agreed plan. It's like, hey, Mercury is like, hey, in Scorpio, let's this seems like a really deep dive into the conversations and discussions and our ideation and our thoughts and what's being brought to the table. But it's trine, easy energy to the Saturn. And Saturn is about, let's take this long journey. Let's take this long road. Let's get to the goal. It's going to take a long time, but we're going to agree on this plan and we're going to walk that line.
Absolutely.
So,
although it's a heavy week towards the weekend, it all gives promise to sticking to it and finding a solution. So let's move on to talisman times. You have finished up one talisman, which was just yesterday, Sunday, October 15th, to claim victory.
I like this. My courage and bravery now aids my effort to win this competition. I choose the contests that I enter to be productive for all. And this is, we just talked about Mars moving into Scorpio. That's where he will be for 6 weeks. So he's already been there a week, so 5 more weeks. And here we've got the moon in Scorpio. So we've got rising Scorpio, moon in Scorpio, and Mars in Scorpio, all on the ascendant. And this just really is in a chart to this powerful of victory. So to claim victory. Yeah, courage and bravery.
Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. No upcoming talismans, and our talisman of the month is sold out. So we're going to just scoot on by onto the horizon, where we have finished up. Sandy and Susan just finished up their October forecast and the cheat sheet that you can find over on our Patreon community. If you head over to patreon.com/chattingwiththestars, you can get a free trial, 7 days, and check it out yourself. Also, Sandy and Susan just finished up the fall 2023 Eclipse season webinar that is ready and waiting for you right there on patreon.com. Next up is October 21st, and that is the Fall Forward Day Retreat that you are co-hosting. So tell a little bit about that.
Well, really, really cool, because one of my long-term clients that I've been with for just years has started her own business, which, I love to see it when you're working with a magical being. Again, whoever who wants to do something in their life, this particular person wanted to, be an integral energy healer. and she's now out in the world doing it. And she's hosting this. It's a 1-day retreat. And actually, to be honest, it's a 6-hour. It's a
Mm-hmm.
6-hour retreat in Union Pier, Michigan, which is literally a little over an hour from my house here in Chicago. That is from 3 to 9. And it's doing with Jen Weigel, with Wendy, and it's a very small group, and we'll be doing some astrology, we'll be doing some Reiki, we'll be doing some integral energy work, and then it's dinner. It's sitting around a fire pit because we are in that season. We'll be able to walk down to the beach and watch the sunset. She lives right on the water.
Beautiful.
And you can actually stay overnight down the street. There's a cute little hotel. I am staying so that I don't drive back after 9:00. But I'm really looking forward to this like fall 1-night stay and if you do stay, you can come back the next morning and have coffee and some little nibbles. There's no event, but it's just a gathering again.
A mini retreat. I love it. This is going to be kind of the first time something like this has been done for intention beads, at least.
Yeah, and they're planning on doing more, so I'll be planning on doing more. But again, the idea of small group, and I think they may already be filled. So I'm not in charge of that. That's rare, right? I'm not in charge of collecting the people.
But I do have the link. So anyone who is interested, if you want to check out if there is more space, go ahead over to the show notes, and underneath there, you're going to see the link to click for that fall forward day retreat.
And it's about $300. So it's really kind of a nice place to meet people that live nearby, right? And again, if we continue to do this, which is their plan, you can come. You can find when the winter one is, when the spring one is, when the summer one is, and kind of regather some of your new friendships. It's always nice to meet new friends, particularly now that we're able to get out and about. And just fall's my favorite season, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I'll mention here too that January 6th through the 13th. Upcoming is the Mexico retreat. Exclusive to the podcast listeners, we're offering you $300 off if you use podcast when you check out for either your full payment or your retreat deposit. We would love to have you. There are only 2 more spots left for Mexico. It is a really wonderful time to recharge, reset your intentions. Sandy's going to be teaching all about Mercury, the way that we communicate, the way we like to be communicated to, and also delving into interpersonal relationships that you have and just see how that communication aligns.
I think it's going to be fun. There'll be a way for me to look at, like your significant other, your child, all your children. Your parents, your sisters, your boss, you can bring up to 5 natal birth times, and I can go on and see what their Mercury is and what element it's in. And do you get along, or you really have to force an understanding between the 2 of you? Like, are you crisscrossing and going, die, boing? Or are you understanding each other? Do you have a good conversation? Do you, are you earth, or are you earth, water? They get along. But if you're earth, fire, that's kind of a doy. It's not, it takes a lot of patience for each one of you to discuss, to get to solve something possibly. And it's just really nice to know, right? Yeah.
And also, I'm going to say this here on the podcast to all of our, our weekly listeners. we want to do a preview of this retreat, of the teachings, give you the basics of what Mercury is about, how Sandy's going to be teaching more about it, and also possibly show you that interpersonal communication you have with yourself or even one other person. It will be a free retreat. It will be all online over Zoom. So stay tuned for more information. Of course, you can email me, alex@intentionbeads.com, if you want a little bit more heads up or information. I'll let you know. If you want to come on any of the retreats that we have planned for 2024, we have a list of them, including Bali, Greece, and Egypt. Go ahead and check out the show notes for those dates as well as those registration links. They are all ready except for that October 2024 Egypt retreat. And without further ado, let's welcome everyone into our house, where we're going to be reflecting on our past Greece retreat.
Now I've forgotten it.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's really it's been almost a month.
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
So
2 weeks. We concluded on the 14th. So
okay. Well, yeah. So it's basically been a month,
yeah,
and wow, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I've been on like all of our retreats, right? And I have traveled even by myself, outside of the company to many different locations. I'm not kidding you. Greece was breathtaking. It was absolutely delicious. I mean, yes, if you've been to Italy, you know that the Italian food there is just absolutely delicious too. However, you kind of know what you're expecting, like to get rolled out of the restaurant by the time you're done eating. But in Greece, it really didn't feel like that. Everything settled so beautifully in the stomach. You had more energy. It was all freshly made on Amargos Island. They don't really have a whole lot of opportunity for shipments. So they provide everything for themselves on site of the retreat, even.
their organic garden. The honey is made there. They have their own olive trees. They do everything. And again, one of the things I love about Amargos is that they just got electricity in 1983. And that's 40 years ago. That was Andrew's age.
Wow, yeah.
Andrew was born. And so it's so funny to know that they have just learned these new techniques that are electric, machinery. But really, they really still do things the old-fashioned way, right? Like you went to
so much to learn from that, right? Go on. What were you saying?
You went to the distillery tour, right? Where you got to see how they live.
Right, because on this retreat, you have the opportunity to sign up for extra adventures, and some of them, range from yacht, right? Yeah. The yacht trip to hiking the beautiful island to checking out the local city.
Monastery.
Right. I mean, and then just the absolute wonderful culture and traditions that they are so excited to share about it really does make it that much more fun, because we did the cooking class, and that was even included in our itinerary for the retreat. And I feel like I'm a expert chef now, because I had no idea that just having 5 different ingredients in your pantry, you can make so many different delicious meals that are all freshly made and, decadent.
And by the owner.
Right. So the owner herself, she taught this class. It was we we had absolutely like so much fun because we did a cooking class and wine tasting, but we did it at the exact same time. And so we were, by the end of it, we were having an absolute ball. We had made croissants, we had made
You
the little donuts, we had made to the tzatziki sauce, we had made what are the donuts called?
Oh,
The
no,
Greek
those are
lach-
no, lucamates.
lucamatis. We made lucamatis. I mean, honestly, and from scratch. We even made, they made the pre-mixture of what goes into wine, literally just by squeezing
Right.
out the grapes that we also tried that they had just picked out of their garden. It was, I mean, and this is just one aspect of this retreat. And I think that that's why it's going to take us so long just to delve through, because it was just so rich in activity and culture and that old tradition. And
We haven't even
so,
talked about what we taught.
oh, we haven't?
Oh, I mean, not in this conversation right here.
Oh, right. Go on ahead.
Well, no, and you taught yoga for the really serious yoga for the first time in your life. You attend yoga, you're a participant, you're almost a daily participant because it really does. You as a Pisces really, calms the mind, calms the nerves.
Right.
And so it was like, okay. And you said, I'll do all of the yoga, Mom. And your scenery, you like
Unmatched.
you can't, we were outside on the rooftop several times during our time. We had our opening and closing ceremony there. Although I don't want to really talk too much about it because
Those are surprises. We got to keep something
surprise,
little mysterious here.
But you did run the all of the yogas. Everybody showed up. They really tuned into their bodies and watching. We were able to watch the sunrise during the yoga experience, and so that you did a great, beautiful job. Really proud of you.
Thank you.
Then we taught the fixed stars, and it may have been overwhelming, but I had everybody. I made a book for everyone, but I gave pages out at a time, so that I was handing out 40 pages to everybody at once. But I handed out a certain amount of pages a day when we were talking about the heliacal rising star, the heliacal setting star, what stars are on your angles, what stars are connected in Puran to your planets in your chart, and then told the mythical story. And we had everybody go out onto the property. It's a 5-star hotel, spa, resort area. Okay. And come back and share the story of how does that star interact in your life? And they all had it. Even there's a lot of stars that are difficult stars. There's a lot of stars that are positive. And if we get a little of this and a little bit of that, kind of a smithering, it was, yes, all those planets, or excuse me, all those fixed stars have the mythology in everybody's life. So, my God, that was kind of a new way. And actually, it's an old, ancient way.
Right.
The astrologers taught astrology was through fixed stars. It's really all they had, because the planets are the wandering stars. The other stars up there in the sky are called fixed. Right. And these are the ones that are like Orion and Leo and Gemini and Castor and Pollux and, and just Betelgeuse and Bellatrix. And, and if you have those in your chart, it's important to know because those are working at some level in your chart. When you were born, from 0 to 30, from your prime years, 30 years to 60 years, or in your latter years, 60 to end. So that was so much fun for me. And it was just perfect because we can see the sky at night. We could identify some of these myths that are happening are in Greece that is part of their culture.
Absolutely.
And looking, kind of going, when I was there a year ago setting this up, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to teach fixed stars, because if they're not using electricity, they have to do things the old way. So I'm going to go back and do things the old way.
Mm-hmm. It was absolutely spectacular. And for anyone who didn't make it, we brought back a very special item, and this is kind of the elixir of health and healing. And you, since you had been to Greece before, you found this this skincare and health organic company called
Apavita. So Apavita, I was asking some of the women in Greece, what is your skin products? Hey, what's the secret? And they're like, honey. And I'm like, yeah, what is the secret? And they're like, honey. I'm like, okay, but thank you. What is the secret for good skin? And they're like, I'm telling you, it's honey.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, okay. So there's a company called Apavita that I bought a bunch of, face creams and serums, but what they said is you have to buy this Propolis. Then the Propolis is this particular ingredient that's at the internal of the root
Beehive?
of the beehive, and it's this it's inside the royal honey.
Oh,
And it's like, so, and it's a spray. And in fact, let me do it right now. Let me just do this. Okay. And of course it tastes delicious, and it's what they do. They carry it around in their bags, in their purses.
so it looks like a throat spray, and it's like a little glass container of the propolis. And the propolis has so many wonderful properties to it. All of the wonderful properties that we know about honey, antiviral, antibacterial, all of these things that really help maintain an entire community of bees.
The antioxidant, all these nourishing, they're called flavonoids and terpenes. And the 2 squirts I just did contains the RDA of vitamin C.
Okay.
So
nice.
So it's for the mouth and throat. It has some marshmallow in it, although I really can't. It's not any chewable marshmallow.
No, marshmallow root, very different from marshmallows that we know of in America.
So it's the propolis, it's the honey, it's the marshmallow, it's the eucalyptus, it's sage, and it's tea tree. And it's really interesting that the sage happens to be one of the blue zones in Greece, Icaria. It's their longevity ingredient. So really, just really cool. And we brought back a whole handful of them. So they carry this around, particularly for the winter months, whenever you're going to get a scratchy throat or you get a sore throat. But it boosts the body's natural immunization in winter, particularly for us.
Immunity.
Yeah.
And seriously, I mean, I am a fan of the taste. I am a fan of, the incredible wisdom and instincts of bees. And I think that this propolis, and even this company, they do market that they really help conserve beehives and colonies, and they move the bees from different parts in order to keep it very diverse. And the work that they're doing, I think, is really impressive. And so when you were there at the store, you were like, hey, I'm gonna collect a bunch of these, and I am going to bring them back home, share them with my community. And anyone who is interested, I am going to be putting it up on our website. If you want to order any of the propolis bottles, join in. I'm going to throw the link in the podcast show notes. So we do only have a very limited amount because, of course, customs and bringing them back into our suitcases when they were already full of a bunch of other things. Yeah, if you are interested, they are on the website ready and waiting for you.
It really is worth, in fact, it was so interesting when I've mentioned that while I was out there to some of the not the non-locals, they're like, "Are you kidding me? I use that every day." And I was like, I had never heard of it. So it's just, they call it, the part of the alchemist of nature, that it's literally a pristine, it keeps that super organisms of this beehive so clean. So it's just great for your ecosystem.
Your internal ecosystem. Well, I think that is a wrap on our episode today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. Again, we love having you here in our community. Remember, you can join our patreon.com/chattingwiththestars. You can send in your feedback to me, send it to alex@intentionbeads.com, or throw it up as a review wherever you listen to this podcast. And head over to our website, intentionbeads.com, see what talismans are there for you. Thank you, everybody, for listening again, and we will talk to you next week.
All right. Enjoy the eclipses. Do something important.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the story